Hi, I'm Scott Bannon, the Director of the Alabama Marine Resources Division of the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. And I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about red snapper fishing here in Alabama and some of the things that we have going on in our division, such as the Claude Petit Mariculture Center and some activities related to other species in Alabama. Now, red snapper fishing is vital to Alabama, not only to the coastal community, but to the entire state. We've invested heavily in an offshore artificial reef zone, which we consider to be the premier artificial reef zone in the entire world. And for that reason, we have the best red snapper fishing anywhere in the country. So this year, we opened the season on May 22nd, which was Memorial Day weekend. And we anticipated that it would run through July 19th, which is the third weekend in July. Well, this year, the weather was really good, except for the weekend that we had Tropical Storm Cristobal, and people got to fish. And you fished a lot. We've seen a tremendous amount of increased effort this year in the red snapper fishery, and for that reason, we're going to close a couple of weekends early. We didn't lose any fish. We still fished our 1.1 million pounds that the state of Alabama was allocated. So that's a gift to you guys, that you got to fish the 1.1 million pounds, where our neighboring state in Mississippi, they fish about 175,000 pounds. So we know that this is very important to you. Now, when Alabama is closed, you can continue to fish in federal waters if you're leaving from and returning to Mississippi or Florida. Just make sure that you are legal to fish in those states. I would love to remind you guys that there are so many other species out there, such as vermilion snapper and the different groupers that are available, king mackerel. Don't make it about the fish, make it about the trip. Go and have fun and catch some fish. And if you'd still like to catch red snapper, our federal for-hire fleet is still working until August 2nd. Every day, 7 days a week, you can book a charter trip here in Alabama. Another thing that I would like to talk to you guys about is two other fish that are vital to Alabama, here in the coastal communities especially, are flounder and spotted sea trout, or as we like to call them, speckled trout. Here at our Claude Petit Mariculture Center, we actually breed those two species of fish along with Florida pompano. So we've seen a little bit of reduction in the stocks for flounder and for spotted sea trout, or specks, so to speak. So we have increased our production here in our hatchery so that we can put flounder back into the system, and we're about to put speckled trout into the system for the first time ever. These have been very successful programs. And so this is in addition to the regulation changes that we made last year, is we're going to put fish back into the system so that hopefully in the near future we can relax some of those regulations, or we can account for a growing effort. Because that's really what we see is going on with these two fisheries, is not that there's a habitat problem, it's really about the number of people who are taking advantage of the opportunities to fish for these two valuable species. So now that we've talked about a couple of species that are important to anglers in Alabama, it's fun. We love to go fishing. But fishing has a tremendous economic impact to the state of Alabama. It affects boat rentals. People come down here to visit and they rent boats. It affects rentals such as condos and hotels, restaurants, fuel. It takes a tremendous amount of fuel to get out there on the water these days. So there's an impact that starts here at the coast and goes all the way to the Tennessee line or any other border state, because people travel here to enjoy the opportunities that we have available. And fishing is just a way of life here in South Alabama.